Padres fans, we got to talk about, these might rise to the level of bombshells coming from MLB insider AJ Cassavell, the man that I regard as perhaps the most knowledgeable without the clownery and buffoonery of television type person out there in the Padres ecosystem. What's going on, everybody? I'm Christian Pedersen with Padres Digest, somebody that is at the opposite end of said spectrum, and the show that laughs when you drive by a certain parking lot out in Claremont and you're like, hey, Tommy Pham got stabbed there. That came to mind yesterday as I was driving around before the shows. What's going on, everybody? Like I said, I want to talk about what AJ Cassavell had to say and not roast him and toast him, but so it's interesting to kind of see where the bar is set now that most of the moves have been made. Before we get to that, got to remind you that all the news today is brought to you by Kalshi. It's America's largest options trading network. And right now, by the largest, I mean it's everywhere. California, Texas, all 50 states. So Padres fans, wherever you are, got you covered. And right now, we've got you covered if you use the link below or to the side or left or up or in bio, wherever it is. And you use Digest MLB as the code when you sign up. You will get $20 when you trade your first 100. It's not just things like I've been telling you about doing the overs on a season or some wins, losses. It's in-game, so it's I right now, as of recording this, have the Kalshi page open for what Josh Allen might be doing in the playoff game that he is playing against the Broncos. That might date this video a little bit, depending on when you watch it, but if not, let me know. Okay. I'm rambling, but serious. Hit up Kalshi with Digest MLB. All right. AJ Cassavell, I wanted to talk about what he did at a Reddit AMA vibes of going through the whole list of Padres stuff. And I'm not here to just simply rehash this and, just going to go point by point. But I think that, to me, there was three main parts that I'm like, I'll give my the good, the bad, and the ugly of the takeaway from all of it. I think that the first thing to go to is just, for me, it's the biggest thing to go to. And that's, the question was asked to him. And as always, apologies to everybody that's on a phone. Do my best here to read it for you. If you had to put a percentage guess on the Padres making the postseason with the team we have today, what would you put it at? If we fill our holes, how much do those numbers change? That is the question posed to AJ Cassavell. He comes back with, this is not a playoff team as currently constructed. I think it's probably a playoff caliber offense, but a playoff team needs a heck of a lot more starting pitching than this team currently has. So let's say 15%. And then in parentheses, that's a world in which King, Musgrove are healthy and productive, comma, Pivetta is again a top 10 pitcher, and Vasquez Sears outperform projections. A lot to ask for. So, dare I use the term doom and gloom, but the guy that allegedly knows the most about the Padres in an unbiased, objective way does not think, he's given 15% chance that the Padres make the playoffs as is. Woof. What's your reaction to that? I guess for me, my assumption is that the Dodgers are going to be good again. So I hadn't really considered us we're going to be in the lead in the NL West kind of thing. But I just sort of assumed that we're going to get more Michael King this year than we did last year. Joe Musgrove is going to replace Dylan Cease, but hopefully can do just a little bit better. In my projections out, I didn't even have King and Musgrove having phenomenal years, just being all right, they're good 1 through 3 starters for the Padres. And then 4 or 5 can be determined either by the basis of Vasquez and Sears or by us just shotgunning through people until we find some dudes that can just tread water for a good offense. AJ's out here saying, a world in which King and Musgrove are healthy and productive means they're going to be plus guys in those scenarios, and Pivetta's a top 10 pitcher again, and that still does not put the team into the playoffs. And I guess for me, I had sort of assumed that this was somewhere hovering between 85 and 90 wins, one of the wild card teams, just given that, to me, the Dodgers getting better doesn't necessarily change our odds of where we fall down, because it's not That's not adding another team up into that calculus of like, now the Dodgers and the Mets certifiably, or the Dodgers, the Mets, and so like it doesn't expand the field. It's just okay. The Dodgers are still going to be really good. That gap is huge. That gap is noticeable. But ... And then you go on to the rest of the teams, and I don't see any other team out there this offseason that I've been like, oh my gosh, they've made huge strides to also then be like with the Dodgers of they're just going to run away with it. So I kind of thought that as long as we hover in second, third most of the season, that we can get ourselves in position of like we'll be like an 80 or 90 win team that makes it into the wild card. Same squad as last year, because we're I say kind of staying put on the pitching. Bullpen is better and offense is better because we've added Laureano and we've added Fermin, but we have subtracted some pieces that maybe project out. I don't know. There's a lot of finite levels of the math, I guess, but reading that from AJ like kind of got me going and said, okay, so I guess if the bar is being set at a team that's not going to make the playoffs, are we back to talking ourselves into just making the playoffs is the success? Kind of open-ended there. I'm not here to, like, obviously I'm disagreeing with him. I don't think it's, I don't know. I don't think it's unrealistic to expect that if you look across the board at Xander, Manny, Fernando, Cronenworth, basically you look at everybody, be like in aggregate, everybody had Jackson Merrill, everyone had a down year last year. Not that everybody's going to regress back to the mean, but if 50% of those people have an up year, and like we said, we've added Fermin, Laureano, I saw that as a good offense. And with the bullpen that we have, if things are constructed right, I was like, okay, I kind of see this as, oh, yeah, this team's kind of good. Obviously, he disagrees. So first one there, let me know what you think on that. Next one down that I thought was kind of interesting was the question being asked on Campusano, the question going, what's your sense on the team's outlook on Campusano? I personally feel like he didn't get a fair shake last season, being brought up to cover injuries and getting one-game spurts with minimal pinch hit opportunities. Casfell writes, I agree to an extent. I think there's definitively more the Padres can get from him, which is in the most literal sense true, given that he didn't produce anything offensively last year. Casville continues, but I also don't think he should be their backup catcher. We know who he is defensively. If he's on the roster and he's out of options, so if he's not, he's going to be exposed to waivers. And I thought that was an interesting nuance to all of this that I had not really considered aggressively in my roster construction. He should be on the roster as the third catcher / pinch hitter / DH. So seeing the coming to light that not this was like hidden knowledge, just personally in my level of Padres consumption, I hadn't realized that we were out of minor league options on Campy. Get him in there. I think it's interesting to hold him that low in defense to be like, okay, he's probably not our backup there, but he's okay. So if he's probably not our backup, let's give him a legitimate go then as our DH first baseman, pinch hitter. Like DH, let's give like I guess to me, seeing that bumps him to me as the incumbent. Let's just give him the DH spot at least through spring training or at least through first 2 weeks of the season. Let's just give that a chance and see if he can't rip it at some clip similar to the numbers that he put up in the minor leagues last season. Number 3 of all these, and you can check out the rest of AJ's article. It's good stuff. But these were the 3 that I thought were the biggest, because to me, that kind of the Campy one just seals the deal for me. And then number 3 is Paul Goldschmidt, a possibility to platoon first base DH. The answer is yet. That's another bat that I think the Padres would be looking at for that spot. Goldschmidt was not somebody that I had on my initial Christmas wish list, if you will, for what was going to be happening this offseason, but he is kind of in that vein of AJ loves his veteran dudes that he also can eject quickly from, and pairing Goldschmidt at first with Sheets and Campy as a DH kind of vibe. Like I'm fine with that. If that's the ad, that to me, it can't get any worse than what we were doing last year, mucking about with Jason Hayward and Connor, Joe, and company. So, okay, take it or leave it. But I do think that Goldschmidt maybe could answer the first base question, at least initially, to figure out what you have in our KB Bro and Sheets and who everyone's going to kind of be this year. And then you can either like solidify, oh, Goldschmidt's doing okay, or you can move on from him as a veteran 1-year deal. Let me know what you think on all of these different topics from AJ. But seriously, where is the bar set for? Is this a playoff Padres team? Let me know what you think. Drop a comment. And as always, if you want to hit the subscribe button, never going to be mad at you. Talk to you guys next time.